Thank you. You've been doing that for 2 years for us. Thank you. Well, awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Look at this room. This is amazing. Let's go. Yeah, give yourself a round of applause. Awesome. Well, cool. We're so excited to be here. Austin and myself, we're the co-founders of Birmingham AI, and this is the best day of the month for us every single month. So we're so excited, and we just thank you for taking time out of your busy day, your busy lives to be with us today. So we got an awesome agenda. We just wrapped up a non-technical hackathon, and so we'll tell you more about what we just did. And yeah, let's get to it because we've got a lot of things to cover. Thank you. Our mission here is to accelerate the adoption of AI in Birmingham for all. And that for all piece is a really important piece. We don't want this just to be something that happens for technical people because it's going to impact all of us in this room. And so we want to make it accessible to people, give you all the right tools and the skills needed to move forward in your careers. This is only possible because we have great sponsors who pay for the pizza that you all just ate. I think there's some more, so feel free to get some more as well. And today, we have another great sponsor. So Darby, please come up and tell us about Leapfrog.
Hello, who was at Lovable? Okay, then this is only going to be a repeat for a few of you. Did you enjoy Lovable? I cannot wait to see the prize-winning applications. It's a pretty cool tool. My name is Darby Westfall. I'm the founder of Leapfrog Systems, and the timing of this opportunity to sponsor, and thank you very much to Birmingham AI, is perfect because Leapfrog just rebranded from Leapfrog Systems Consulting to Leapfrog AI Systems Consulting for obvious reasons if you're here in this room. We have been around since 2000, so we spent 25 years doing software consulting in general. A lot of data stuff, a lot of software development, lifecycle stuff. And our belief is that at this point, what's going on with AI is still software development. It's just using a new tool. And so what we want to do is bring to businesses that have ideas or missions that they want to use AI for, we want to bring the history of a disciplined approach, concerns about your data, concerns about whether or not it's encrypted and whether or not it's backed up and whether or not your SOX compliant and all the grown-up things you have to worry about on top of your really fun UI that you just built with Lovable. It's no diss on Lovable. I love Lovable, but you know, if you really have a mission-critical application, you're probably going to need development tools around that. So the first thing we do in our assessments is work on the dream team. Believe that your solution is going to only be a success if it's adopted. And so you need the leadership team in the business, you need the people who have boots on the ground to be involved, and then you also need an IT partner if you don't have an IT department, and maybe even if you do. So Leapfrog doesn't have an IT department. Most of you are, you're our partners one way or another. You're either the business or you're the IT partner. We are there to sort of bridge that gap and be the interpreter and provide that roadmap, align with strategy, you know, help you put your project together and help you make sure it gets implemented. But we need all of the partners that are in this room to help make that happen. So if you're an IT developer and I don't know you, please find me. There's going to be a QR code in a minute. All right, third thing is that with the experience of 25 years of software development, we hope to help you avoid mistakes, what we call unforced errors that you just don't know, or because you, as a business owner, you build your widgets, whatever it is you do, and you're not expected to know the hard questions to ask about your AI solution. And that is what we want to help you with. So, you know, we will come in, figure out what you need, and then turn around and figure out how to build a solution that's going to be sustainable, scalable, secure, those kinds of things. Okay. Oh, we had the QR code on there. There used to be a QR code. It's easy, though. It's hireleapfrog.com, www.hireleapfrog.com. So yeah, the final answer is that we are a very custom tailored solutions provider, or consultant provider, and we will learn your business. You don't have to learn ours, and we'd love to help you if you want to share that message. That is the last one, right? Okay, all right, and thanks again, Birmingham AI.
Thank you. Awesome. Yes, like I said, this is the only way that we can make these things happen. So thank you, Darby. If you're interested in helping Birmingham AI continue as it is, please come up and talk with Austin or myself about sponsorship. So yeah, Darby mentioned Lovable there. Who has heard of Lovable? Awesome. Most of the people in this room. That's impressive. So Lovable is what we call like an app builder, where you can just use human language to have it build an application for you. It can build websites. It can build more complex applications. It can build things that send email or send text messages. So it can just do a lot of really neat things. And we were able to partner with Lovable over the past hour and a half before this meeting and hold a non-technical hackathon where about 40 people came and built a app using just human language in 45 minutes. And it was a great experience for some people who had never used the tool before. And then for a lot of people who had played around with it, they got some dedicated time and built something really impressive. And we're also fortunate to have the community lead of Lovable here, Talisha, who just walked in the room. So give her a wave. And so we had so much fun. We want to do something like this again. But today we want to spotlight the two winners that we had in this hackathon. We're going to let them come up and show their app real quick that they just built in the last 45 minutes. We gave one prize for the most fun app, and then we gave one prize for the most useful app. So we're going to highlight both of those real quick, and let's get to it. First up is Robert. Robert, come on up. Round of applause. Tell us what you're going to spend the $100 at Amazon on.
Episodes of Paw Patrol. Okay, so this is like Family Feud, but with answers sourced by ChatGPT. So, in Family Feud, when they say survey says, that's surveys that they've done with hundreds of people that gets the answers. So this is a question that ChatGPT generated and answers that it generated. And the whole point is Family Feud, but with ChatGPT. So I figured we would all do one together. That's probably the best idea here. Okay, so what feels illegal but isn't? All right. I'll start us off with Delta 9. Which is wrong. Okay, does anybody in the audience have an answer here? Speakerphone in public, that's a big one. Phone in public. Oh. All right. I think we're going to go 0 for 4 here. Healthcare system. All right. Rubber chickens? Rubber chickens. Not a single answer right. Leaving the store empty-handed, taking 2 free samples, using employee restroom, cracking knuckles in public. All right. All right, thanks, everyone.
Give a round of applause. All right, so that was obviously the fun winner of the award. And it's just cool to see like how you can combine not only AI to build the application, which he built this, the design of it, the interface, all of this in the last 45 minutes, but also some of the functionality. And so next up is another application that is a developer capacity planner. So I'm going to welcome Andrew up on the stage. Let's give him a round of applause for being a winner.
All right, so I made a developer capacity tool. I'm a project manager, and so in my world, what I'm typically concerned with a lot of times is developers and do they have work, what work is upcoming, kind of keeping an eye on that. And so I've run into some shortcomings with other programs, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet or even Jira. There's some things in there that I just don't like. And so I wanted to create a tool to do that. So what it does is you have all the developers on my team or for the company listed. So you can see all of those, and then it's broken out by week. And so you can see and change, like, what does that developer have? Are they full of work? Do they have half work, or do they have no work? And then you can put what projects they have available as well. So you can say, hey, this one's working on API integration. This one's working on a mobile app. And so you can put what projects they're actually working on as well and keep up with that week over week. And then there's a calculation that takes place within it that tells you how many developers are available. So, if you're looking out 2 or 3 weeks out ahead and hey, I've got 2 developers that are going to need work, you can know I need to fill that work. Or if you have no capacity, hey, we need to hire a developer, right? And in that case, you can add new developers or add projects and just kind of keep up with it week over week to see what your capacity is for your company.
Thank you. Yeah, so congrats to our winners. That's 2 examples. If you never played around with one of these tools, maybe you've just seen it or you've heard about it, like, you can build that stuff in less than an hour. So it's just super helpful. You can iterate faster. And, even if you have a development team, let's get closer towards what we want to build before we make them go and do the work. No developer likes to do something that isn't actually the solution we want, that gets scrapped or that gets left on the shelf for a long period of time. And so, highly recommend you check out Lovable. And congrats to the winners there. All right, I am excited to welcome up my co-founder, Austin Sinsman. So wherever Austin is, he will come up and take over.
Hey. Is this one working? We're not going to need to stage the chairs if we're going to do a panel. Yeah. So just maybe. Okay. All right, hey everybody, can you hear me all right? All right, cool. All right, so who is here for the first time? Quick show of hands. All right, great. Well, welcome. So if you're here for the first time, this is Birmingham AI. This is a community event. Will and I put this together out of our own curiosity a couple years ago. And it's just meant to bring curious people into the room. And then we want to take your curiosity and maybe give you some skills that you can take back to your work or to your life and do something meaningful with AI, okay? So today we're going to talk about 2 things. I'm going to give a quick update on the popularity of ChatGPT, which we know is popular, but I started looking at some of the numbers recently and I was very surprised how popular it is. And then we're going to spend some time talking about a tool that ChatGPT has called Deep Research, which we've talked about here before in passing. But over the last few months, I've been using it a lot more to help clients and help other people do work. And I've realized that there's a specific way to use it that is more helpful that may not be obvious. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. So ChatGPT is not a tool anymore just for the early adopters. Okay, every life cycle has a product. Every product has a life cycle. And we're moving out of the early stages of this. These are daily visits to different LLMs, okay? The blue one is ChatGPT, all right? So this is for the last 6 months or so. ChatGPT absolutely dominates this space right now. And so if you've come to these meetings regularly, we talk about ChatGPT a lot. And it's not because, sorry, but this is just what the numbers are. We talk about ChatGPT a lot because it is the thing that most people are using regularly, okay? And also something has happened in 2025. This, okay? So at the beginning of the year, this stuff really started taking off. And these are some of the signals for me that we're moving into a different phase of this. I have been telling my mother about ChatGPT for the last 2 years. I've showed it to her multiple times. And 3 months ago, she asked me what it was. So this was another signal, okay? What this means is people who haven't really thought about this much the last 2 years are going to be interested in it now. So if you've been doing this for a while, it's a cool moment for you because more people are going to be curious about it, and if you know something, it's kind of fun to share. You've been telling about it for the last 2 years, but they actually haven't heard what you're saying. And now a lot more people are ready to listen. All right? So that's interesting. And ChatGPT is now the 5th most popular website in the world. And in the ongoing feud between Sam Altman and Elon Musk, it overtook X.com last month, which I think has to be, yeah. Certainly satisfying. Yeah, pick a winner, you know. But that's not the interesting thing on this graph. The way people are using the internet is changing. So these numbers right here are the month-over-month change in traffic to these websites. And ChatGPT was up 13%, and every other website was down. Okay? People are changing the patterns of how they use the web. And you hear questions like, is ChatGPT going to take over Google? Well, the numbers are pretty striking. You know, ChatGPT got 5 billion visits. Google got 80 billion, okay? So there's a way to go. But if they grow at this rate, if this keeps happening or it accelerates, in 2 years, they'll be there. They'll be all the way at the top. So you compound that month over month for a period of time if this continues or gets faster, and ChatGPT would be the largest, most popular website in the world. Okay? So it's just interesting. It's kind of like the race is on. All right? There is a Google person here today. I will say this. Google has absolutely caught up from a product standpoint. In fact, they may be getting ahead of ChatGPT in the next 6 months. Their big developer event is next week. They're probably going to have the best new model very soon. ChatGPT and the guys at OpenAI just got a big head start. All right, and I think that's what you see in these numbers. All right. Okay, so that's just sort of the state of the world right now. This event followed this trend, okay? In 2023 and 24, we sold 160 tickets to this event. And this year, we started selling 250, all right? And so I went and looked at the trends in LLM usage and the attendance at our event, and they're basically the same. So to the extent people are going and visiting these websites, they're coming here too. So we're going to need a bigger room, I guess is what I want to say. But we also did a really good job this year of getting people to sign up for the next month's event earlier. So this is like days before the event, okay? So in that spirit, if you could get out your phone, this is next month's event. If you'd like to go ahead and sign up, they've been selling out for the last 6 months. It's probably a good idea to just go ahead and do that now. We teach our salespeople to book a meeting from a meeting, okay? It's very important. Why you have people's attention. Okay, yeah, thanks. All right, I'm gonna ask Delphine Carter to come up here. Bulo is another one of our partners, and they have been helping us search for a full-time director for Birmingham AI. Will and I love doing this meeting. The community has been very responsive to it. We feel like this should be happening more in Birmingham, at schools, at civic groups, those kind of places. And so we want somebody full-time to help us with that. And this is what Delphine and her team do. So let's grab you a mic.
I probably yell out enough.
You probably do.
I do yell.
Yeah, but go for it.
Nice things, only nice things.
Okay.
Thanks you guys for being here. One of the reasons that I'm so passionate about Birmingham AI, I don't know, how many people here know state of Alabama's workforce participation rate? We're like bottom 3. One of the things that worries me about that is as we grow technology, that means we're leaving more people behind. So what I love so much about Will and Austin are doing is they're making sure that we are keeping more people in the loop so that we don't end up with a workforce participation rate of like 12%. So I was really excited when they started doing this, and when they said, hey, we are looking for an executive director, I wanted to be a part of it, and I wanted my team to handle it. So who is Bulo? I got a demotion here. I started Bulo in 2018. Our entire purpose was to help women stay in and return to the workforce. The reason I picked up on women is because their resumes are very different. Typically, women's resumes are more of a scatter plot than a linear, and so algorithms suck at pulling them up, and I wanted to fix the suck. So what we started doing as a team in collaboration with Digital Motion, they have a dev shop called NiBuild, who is excellent. So we work with them. We've got a developer on our team, and we started building AI that helps us look at a human's lived experience, pulling in hard skills, soft skills, and what happens after 2 years as a developer, 5 years as a developer. And so we're using our AI to also help us find unique and rare candidates. It's what's helped us have a 94% retention rate. We have a faster time to fill than the industry average. And we are also just have a better ratio of interview to hire. So super excited to be doing all this. Things are looking great because this idea is capturing so many people's attention. But we also, if any of you are in a scale-up period where you need HR legal services, any HR just documents to make sure you don't get sued because you fired somebody the wrong way, reach out to us, but we're here to help. Glad to be a part of this.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome, thank you. Well, that's still on. All right, let's turn it off. All right, cool. Thank you, Delphine. All right, so let's talk about some AI stuff. So OpenAI has established 5 levels of AI progress. These are very big picture things, all right? So the first one is conversational AI. This was ChatGPT 4.0, right? And this is done. This level's solved, okay? And the second level is called reasoning AI. And this is models like O1, O3. This is, what's the Gemini model called? 2.5 Flash, yeah. So these are models that think before they answer, okay? And the defining characteristic of these models is that they're smart, okay? They're meant to solve hard problems in chemistry, physics, science, math, things like that, all right? They're smart in other areas, right? But they're smart. This is pretty much solved at this point as well. I've updated this. This was 75% done. I'm saying this is 100% done now, okay? And those models just came out like 6 months ago, okay? So that one got solved real quick. They went from nothing to done, okay? The next level is autonomous agents. So the difference between agents and these other two levels is that they have tools and they're being productive and they're doing things, okay? It's one thing to be smart, but if you can't send an email or, do all the things that we do as knowledge workers, you can't be very productive. So the way to think about autonomous agents is that they are productive AI tools. They can do things, okay? And deep research, what we're going to talk about today, is an agent. All right, it's an agent that does research. But this is very much a we're just getting started kind of area. And it's the big area for the next couple years. Lovable, what you just saw, is a software development agent. You ask it to do things, it has access to coding tools, databases, et cetera, it can build things for you, okay? So you've already seen one example today. There are 2 other levels that we're not really going to talk about, okay? These will be on our radar in the next 18 months. But today, we're going to talk about agents. So I showed this a couple months ago, and I'm going to bring it back up. Tim Berners-Lee, who's considered the father of the internet, found 20 of his smart PhD friends. He had them use deep research, and he asked them to do this. I'd like you to get it to write a research paper in your area of expertise, okay? And they did that, and then he asked them, how long would it have taken you to write something of that quality? Okay. 60% of them, no, more than that, 50% of them said it would have taken them 10 hours to produce something of the quality that they created. A deep research query takes anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes. Okay? So what these people are saying is it did 10 hours of work in 5 to 30 minutes. All right? So this should get your attention. The problem is, if I'm thinking about myself, or ask yourself, what in the world do I need someone to research for 10 hours for me? Like, that's not something we do. I don't have someone running around doing research for me all the time. I have no idea how to even use that. And this is the purpose of the talk today, okay, is to understand how you can actually get value from this thing, okay? Because it's a new skill for us. We're not wired up to think, oh, let me just rattle off 10 hours of research on this topic, all right? So I think about 20% of the people in the room today are going to hear this in the right way and go and do something really valuable with it. I was talking to Delphine before I came up here. I mentioned we were talking about deep research, and she lit up, okay? For people who have like worked it and gotten it, when you talk to them about it, it is the most exciting thing they have ever seen in their lives, okay? So if you don't feel that way about it right now, I want you to. That's not going to be everybody, but I want you to turn it on right now because I'm going to show you how it works, okay? Deep research works well when you have an ambitious thing you're trying to do, okay? Is Kareem here today? He's not, because he would have come and found me. Kareem is one of our Birmingham AI fellows, and I went to his office last week to work with his team, and they are trying to produce a sort of big machine learning process that looks at these cancer cells, essentially, and categorizes them in ways that are going to be helpful for them to build their product. We worked for about 2 hours on how we would do all of this. And the people that were sitting around the table said this would have taken us 2 months without this tool. Okay? Because it was sort of PhD level work. And what it did, it created a whole step-by-step guide for how to build all of the code, how to do everything, how to write the research paper, how to do everything. All right? So it's helpful if you have some ambitious thing. All right? So whatever your business is, right? I just made this up, right? How could I earn $10,000 in the next 90 days for my coffee shop? Right? Start with something pretty big, okay, is my first suggestion. You can use it for smaller things, right? But the bigger the better. What we are going to try to build today, what I'll show you, is what I call an action center. It's a space where AI can help you do your work. We're going to do this in ChatGPT. You could do this in Claude. You could do this in Gemini. All of those products have similar deep research type tools. Okay? But I'm going to show you how to build this thing. The research that we're going to do, this is the deep research piece. So the idea is we're going to do some research. We're going to put together a lot of context, maybe a plan, all the resources. We're going to put them in the action center so we can work, and we're going to go do our ambitious thing. And all of this starts with just curiosity about a problem. The most important thing that makes this work is curiosity. The people that I talk to that are lit up about this, they are highly motivated. They like to learn. They're curious about the world. They have lots of questions. And now they have an infinitely patient, never gets tired person to answer all of them in great detail. Okay? Curiosity is the thing. If you are an early adopter of these tools, it is because you are a curious person, and it will serve you very well. Okay? The other part is being ambitious. Okay? All right. The thing I want you to learn how to do is what I call a research cycle. And there are two parts to it. The first is starting with your curiosity. We're going to use ChatGPT, not deep research, okay? And we are going to ask it to help us write a prompt that we are going to give to deep research. Okay? Deep research can take 30 minutes to do one of these research projects. If you set it off in the wrong direction, you can waste a lot of time. All right? So the idea here is we're going to spend 5 to 10 minutes having a conversation about what we want to research. This is critical, okay? And so this is the exact prompt I would use. I've been talking to a lot of people recently, and I don't think they're the same people that are in this room, but they don't realize that there are different models that you can pick in ChatGPT, okay? So if you pull up ChatGPT and you just start using it, you're probably using 4.0. There is a model that is better in almost every way that has a smaller number. Okay? 03. 03 is the model I use all the time now. It's kind of like Deep Research Lite, actually. It kind of works very similarly. It's just faster. Okay? And so I start with 03 and I have this conversation. And this is a back and forth. It would be like just talking to a smart person, sort of getting the problem in your head, right? But what it's trying to produce is a prompt, all right? When I have that prompt, then I'm going to start a new conversation, and I'm going to use that prompt, and I'm going to run deep research. Okay, and I'll show you how this works in a minute, just so you can see the buttons and sort of get it in your mind, all right? This is what I call one research cycle. So when I was working with Kareem, we spent about 2 hours together, and we did 3 cycles, okay? Because we spent a cycle on learning about the tools we had available to us, the various Python libraries, all of that. We spent a cycle on the actual plan, so everything we were going to do. And then we spent a cycle on how we were going to turn it into a research paper, track our progress along the way, what does success look like. So each one of those cycles takes about 30 minutes, all right? But it was those 3 30-minute cycles that they felt was months of work. All right, but we were very intentional in how we did it, and we followed this process. Okay? Where this leads is what I'm calling the action center. And you can do this in any number of tools, but this is what it looks like in ChatGPT. ChatGPT has projects. Okay? You can start a new project, and it has a couple of things in it. It has a place to put files. Okay? So all of the research that we do, so with Kareem, we did 3 cycles. We ended up with 3 pretty extensive documents. Okay? Those all went in here. Okay? So we put our 3 documents in here. It also has custom instructions. So this is a whole other conversation that I have with O3, now that it has all this context. Please help me write the custom instructions for this project, knowing everything you know so you can be most helpful in getting me to reach my goal. All right? When you're at this point, you're ready to work. This looks simple, but what's going on here is extremely powerful. It has all of the context for the work you're trying to do in great detail, and it has very clear instructions about what it needs to do to help you. So at this point, you can literally come in here and say, let's get started, right? And it is going to start taking you through the work. If you can create this situation for yourself, that's step 1. If you can create this situation for your manager, that's a great way to get a promotion, okay? Imagine you just put them in this situation where you say, hey, I've got it all ready for you. You just say, go, okay? It's pretty cool. Or if someone works for you, you could have them do that for you. Get me to this point, and I'm going to work on this, then let's talk about it, all right? So this is what I call the action center. Action center is not a set of words you'll see anywhere. Okay, it's just an idea. All right, so here's what this looks like. You get the right data and people in the room. Just like get a conference room, okay? And you are going to pick an ambitious problem, and you are going to run through the research cycles needed to sort of build all the context for working. So if you're the person running the coffee shop, you could imagine getting some baristas in the room, whoever your operations people are, maybe you bring your accountant. You get everybody in the room, right? And you go through these together, right? You start with, hey, here's what we're trying to do. Help us write the prompt. Everyone's giving their feedback. You have the research start running. That takes a little while, so you keep having conversations while that's going on. And you get to a point where you have all the information you need, all right? You take these PDFs. When you run deep research, you can just PDF it and download it. There's just a button for that. You open up a project, you load it all in there. This is the place where you put your custom instructions as well. And then this is the place where you work. All right? So When people use deep research now, there's a couple ways to sort of get off track here. Not get off track, but not get the full value out of it. It takes a long time to run, and if you don't ask it to work on the right thing, you wait a long time and you get something that's not very exciting for you. And it takes a while, so you think maybe I just shouldn't use this, right? And then people also, I think, don't really know what to do with what it produces, because it also produces something that might be like 50 pages long. And it's like, wow, do I want to read all this? You know, you should, okay? And what we do in this session with all the people in the room is you sit there and you read it together, right? You're going to load up all this context with people in the room together, all right? But this is what you do with it. You take it, you try to do an ambitious thing up here, you're trying to work, and you take all this stuff and put it in a place that empowers the work to happen, all right? These projects across all the various tools are not shared spaces. So in Gemini and Claude and ChatGPT, they're not shared right now. You could create a custom GPT. Raise show of hands if you know what I'm talking about. Okay, Google Gem, these kind of things. That does this. Okay, it kind of works like a project does. All right, but the idea is the same. Some place to work. Okay, a couple of ideas. So ways that you can help make this better for where you work. I think every company should have a set of documents that are the core context of the business that you can bring to every conversation you have, really. But they're extremely useful things to put in the action center. So if you have a document that's like all the key employees, what their roles are, the org chart, all the skills they have. If you have a company that talks about, a document that talks about the company itself, you know, mission, strategy, values, all these things, market, competitors, geography. These new models can soak up an enormous amount of context, okay? So when you're talking about doing work, doing an ambitious thing in your business, if it knows all of these things, it can be very helpful. What's your meeting cadence with the people you work with? All these kinds of things. When I loaded all this up into the coffee shop example, and it was all demo stuff, right? Just make our employees, make our company, all that stuff. But it's like, hey, let's get started. And it's like, hey, here's the first person we should talk to, because it's the assistant manager at the store, and they have these different skills, and here's the conversation we should have with them. I'm like, I didn't ask for any of this. But it was helpful, okay? These new big models are aggressively helpful, okay? There was some instructions for the Lovable folks doing the hackathon that you shouldn't ask it to do too much. And that's not a Lovable thing. It's sort of these tools. Like you want to ask it just sort of what you need, because it can really just go, okay? And you don't want it to do too much. And so I say all that to say if it has the right context, you can let it cook a little bit more, because it's not just going to go off. It understands you and your business and what you're trying to do, okay? Another thing to put in your action center, especially if you're building this for somebody else or if it's a custom GPT, is kind of like, what can you do with this thing? And it's a prompting guide. Hey, do you know you can make a website or write software or create pictures? So when someone gets into it, they can say, how can I use this? And it can connect these strategies to your business, to the ambitious thing you're working on, right? And it can suggest very concrete things they can do, all right? So I found this very helpful for myself. I use these tools all the time. And when I put something like this in there, it gives me ideas that I had not thought about, right? This first came to me when I was using Manus, which is another research agent. I had it produce a lot of research. At the end, it said, would you like me to create a website? It just asked me. And I was like, sure. I didn't even know. And it made a whole website that explained everything in great detail. It was very well formatted. It had all the information in there. It took like 1 minute. The tools know more about what the tools can do than you do. Okay, and so you should create opportunities for them to teach you. All right. So I put all of this stuff into a document, and I put it in the Action Center just like these. Context about the business, context about what the tools can do. The tools, we don't understand everything the tools can do now, and the tools are getting more and more capabilities. Okay? Like, I think this week, ChatGPT can like hook up to SharePoint now. Trivial, you know, in some sense, but for people that use SharePoint a lot, oh wow, it can do that now. You may have a lot of stuff in SharePoint. All right. All right. So, just to recap, start with an ambitious thing. You don't have to, but the more ambitious, the better. We're going to try to build an action center that empowers you to work on that thing. And the way we're going to do that is build an enormous amount of context around the problem using the research tool. All right? So we're going to do research cycles. And a research cycle takes about 30 minutes. I tell you that because you can sort of plan your day a little bit. It's like, I probably need to do 4 research cycles on this topic. I need to know about our market. I need to know about, right? And so you can sort of sit down and say, that's going to take 2 hours. Okay? And the first thing is just being curious, right? And I would add into that some agency, right? Oh, I want $10,000 more for my coffee shop in the next 90 days. That's curiosity, but it's also some sense that, like, I can do something about this, and I'm going to, and I want to. All right. All right, so let me show you this real quickly. I just want you to see what, this is not going to be a long demo. I just want you to see what this looks like in reality. So when I'm in ChatGPT, you know, you have projects over here, and you can just create a new one, all right? And it's going to create a space that looks like this. The project files go here. It's not just PDFs. You can upload a wide range of things in here. That could be code. That could be pictures, on and on and on, all right? The custom instructions are over here. You see, these are pretty long instructions about what to do. I did not write this. I read it, and I did some feedback cycles on it to get it how I want it, but I did not write this. All right? So this is what this thing does. All right? When you have all of this in here, you really can say things like, let's get started. All right? And your ability to start doing meaningful work on this thing you care about accelerates dramatically. You can come back to this space tomorrow, the next day, right? It's just there. And if you're doing something ambitious, you're not going to do it in one sitting, okay? In this context, this person might work on this thing for 90 days. So I can take this thing in any direction I want, all right? Oh, I want to meet with my employees about what we're going to do. Oh, I want to create a website that explains this to my employees, right? Like, we're not going to watch it do all this, but, you know, create a website about this project, all right? When you want it to create a website or code, it really is best to tell it that's what you want to do, and it's really not obvious that that is this thing called Canvas. Sometimes it guesses, but sometimes it doesn't, okay? When we talk about agents, we're talking about AI that can use tools. The amount of tools that we'll be able to use over the next 1 year, 2 years is about to explode, all right? So this is already, like if Claude did a nice thing, which Google was ahead on, but it's like, you know, hook it up to my calendar, right? Hook it up to my email. And you can imagine how helpful that is. Imagine you're working on this coffee shop project and you say, hey, summarize the email conversations I've had about this over the last week, right? Or go look at the meetings and like get the transcripts, like what did we talk about? It's all there. So that additional context is what's coming, right? It sort of sees what you see and hears what you hear, okay? And then it can go do things. That's what agents are. Do you get it? Okay. All right, so, okay, it's just cooking. Maybe Delphine also said it's just fun to watch it like work. It is. It's a different feeling because it's like you have somebody working for you, okay? And I'm just out of just pure curiosity. Let's just see what came up. Right, so we could iterate this on this. It could be whatever we wanted it to be, okay? But you get the idea, all right? Okay. All right. I want to have a quick panel discussion, so Let's grab some chairs and pull them up here. All right, cool. Kaiser, you want to come sit up here with us? Just randomly answer questions. We found panel discussions are the best way to do Q&A here. And so Will's going to come sit up here with me, and this is Kaiser Thompson. And we're just going to field some questions from the audience. Does that sound good? OK, cool. Panelists must bring your own chairs. Yeah. If you want to do a panel, you got to be strong. Sorry.
Thank you. Don't let me sit.
Hello. Hello. All right, what do people want to talk about? Yeah.
You're using O3 for questions and answers. Thank you. You're using O3 for most of your questions and answers. Have you tried using 4.5 for some of your deep research, and what have the results been like?
Yeah. You want to start?
Yeah. The short answer is yes, but minimally. I personally, and by the way, my background is very non-technical. I run my own business. I've been in marketing for many years. And when 4.5 came out, I started to use it, and I got very disappointed very quickly. And that's because I was so used to 4.0 at the time. And when 03 came out, I'm like Austin, I just started using it and became a power user because of how it thinks. You guys saw on the screen, it said thinking, and I'll use thinking in quotes. But it is a reasoning model, and it did a lot. It was a lot more powerful for me than 4.5, and I can't explain why. And I don't think a lot of people can explain why, honestly. But anyway, that's.
Yeah, there's a joke about O3. If you've ever used it, it's like everything's a table. And if you've used it, you know what I'm talking about. It makes a lot of tables, and yeah. Will, do you have an opinion here on the dev side?
I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I honestly haven't used 4.5 a lot because what I'm using is meeting my needs, is what I would say. So.
Yeah, we're getting to the point, it feels like right now, where it's just not as important. And some of it's happening automatically. The models being selected.
All right. What else? Yeah, Ben.
Characteristics of research quant do you find are more likely to get you?
I've got a couple ideas. I mean, it really likes to think in code, I've found, and I think OpenAI is encouraging in that way. And I initially tried to fight that because I'm like, I don't want you to return like a 500-line JSON as the response. I want a document. But when I let it do that, it actually works much better, and I can always take that and turn it into a document. So that was one thing for me that was counterintuitive, but helpful.
Yeah, I think maybe this isn't an exact answer to the question, but the biggest mistake I see is that like people aren't ambitious enough, and it's like you probably could have spent like 2 minutes and gotten to the answer that you wanted. So let's not kick off this 30-minute long deep research. Like it works better when you want to not only get the answer, but understand like all of the reasons why it's the answer and what the alternatives are and like why they're not the answer. Like things like that, it just works much better.
Yeah, if it's something you could Google, just Google it.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll agree with what they're saying. I'll also go back to one point Austin made and just kind of double down on part of his process that he mentioned kind of briefly, but I think it was one of the most important parts, is he used ChatGPT to come up with the prompt for deep research. And I have found, and I think y'all have found too, that 03 and 01 before that, but 03 right now does a phenomenal job of helping you think through the actual prompt you need to give it, especially when it comes to deep research. And I think, my use cases right now at deep research, probably 9 out of 10 times, I use it pretty frequently with the work I do. 9 out of 10 times I'll start at 03 and be like, hey, I'm trying to figure this out and use deep research. Give me the prompt for it. And that's kind of a lazy way of doing it, but I think it's a smart way of doing it because it does know its own model well enough now, whereas like 6 months ago, I found that it didn't do that, but now it does it pretty well.
I got a question.
Stand up. Oh, yeah, hey.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, there you are.
So there are some interesting claims that were said at the beginning where you had kind of your different models and then 100% of almost PhD level of knowledge per se, right? How can users use this tool in such a way that they can trust the output, especially when it comes to deep research, where really to validate or to understand the output, you need to have the expertise within the question you're asking. So even like the machine learning example you gave of what it might have taken months of work to do, I mean, they still needed PhD level researchers to understand that this actually takes months to do and it came out in 2 hours. So there's this big assessment process that happens afterwards, and I'm kind of curious within the deep research space that people don't know much about sometimes. They might be asking questions, how do they validate that? How do they go about that? And that might take a lot of time versus asking it to code 50 lines of code and you have experience in 5 years of coding. That might be easier to assess as well. So I'm just kind of curious your thoughts on how do users adopt this in such a way that they can validate it and use it and it's actually being productive and truthful.
Yeah, I mean, I will say last week when I was doing this, the guy sitting at the table had a PhD in this stuff. So that helped, right? And so remember when I said, like, get the right people and data in the room? I think doing this as a group is incredibly impactful, right? Because you have someone who's like producing the histology slides and staining them for the cancer. You have the lead researcher in there. You have, right? And so when it starts talking, you have these different perspectives to very quickly help you figure out what's going on. And it sometimes can feel like a lot to put people in a room together for 2 hours. It's like, aren't we supposed to be working kind of thing? But that was incredibly productive. So that's one element of it that I think is helpful in the way I work when I try to help businesses. Yeah.
There's a great voice in the AI world right now. His name's Ethan Mullock. We read him. A lot of people here probably read him. He's a professor at Penn, written the book on AI, and he posts a lot. But he talks a lot about, and he's done a lot of research and reviewed a lot of research on this topic. And I'm going to misquote him, but he talks a lot about how the best place to start is in your expertise, like in your domain, where you're an expert. And with deep research, my personal experience is that it's not always accurate, for sure. And going through and reviewing something that deep research gets back to me is super, super important and part of the process. But like Austin said, it's like when you're doing something with it and you have the experts in the room, it's a way more efficient process than if you're doing something and you're not the expert or you don't have the experts in the room. Like, I don't code. If I were to give it something about coding or something like that, or machine learning, and I were reviewing it, it'd be a bit of a lost cause because I don't know what's wrong or what's right. I have to run it through something else. So I think the expertise piece is really important, and starting where your domain expertise is also important.
Yeah, the last thing I'll add is that like they're very well cited now. So you just click the links and you see what it's cited, and so it's, you know, I think one deep research report might have 30 plus links on there that you can go look at and validate the data that it's used.
All right, let's do one more. Does someone have the mic or? Okay. Oh, hey, Tarun.
We talked about Perplexity a while back. How do you compare deep research to Perplexity's deep research? Because it feels intuitive to see the citations in Perplexity, but in deep research, you see them at the end of the research.
I think I don't know, maybe you guys are qualified to answer that question. My point is just that, like, in a lot of ways, these are becoming commodities. The models are commodities, the tools are commodities. And so, like, when I just have a tool that works and meets my expectations and needs, I just stick with it. And, you know, we up here on the stage try out a lot of tools. But even so, like, it's just the models and the tools serve the need, and a lot of them are on par with each other. Perplexity, we could talk about specifics and say, well, for a while, the deep research that OpenAI AI came out with, really pulled ahead of the others. Well, the others have done work to catch up now, and so I think there's a lot of similarities, and it just speaks to what's the problem you're trying to solve, what's the question you're trying to solve. do a couple of those queries in the different tools, and then go from there.
Yeah, one way to think about what we talked about today is we talked about ChatGPT, but the way that we approach the problem is really what we were talking about. So you should be able to do that in any of these different tools. I really don't like the my tool can beat up your tool game. Perplexity is pretty great. If that's what does it for you, use that. All of these products have free versions, and you can try them for nothing and get a sense of what you like. So, yeah.
Oh, I will add one thing, just based on a use case, and this may relate to some people in the room. I have found that with deep research, especially, but also using O3 with web search and all that, that it is very good at taking my requests for types of sources that I want. That's for some reason a big pet peeve of mine with Perplexity. I'm probably the only person in the room who's not a Perplexity fan, because I feel like it pulls from sources that I don't like. Some random blog post here and there, and it'll give me the information. Some of that's fine, but I'm very particular about my sources and some of the work I do. With ChatGPT and even Claude's also horrible at this, but another story for another day. But with ChatGPT, O3, and deep research, being very specific with what types of sources you want, whether that's like peer-reviewed articles or articles from trusted news sources. You can say no blogs, exclude all. You can exclude things. That has become really, really great feature for me that I can't get in other tools.
Yeah, I think the most valuable thing you can all learn, rather than like one tool or another, is to have this mental model around like, how much compute do I need to solve this problem? And what I mean by that is like, how many robots do I need to get spun up on servers to answer something for me? And if you're spending 30 minutes answering a question you could have solved with AI in 2 minutes, then it's going to waste your time. You're going to get less done. And so just like knowing what the right level of compute to use is important. Now it's cheap, and so you can spin something up for 30 minutes and go do something else, and that's a great way to use it. But just having the mental model around, how much time do I want to spend on this problem? Am I going to be waiting for it? Can I go do something else? Will just really help you use these tools more in your everyday workflow, which is what we want.
All right, cool. Thank you all. Yeah. Will and I have a quick message to share, and then we will, like class dismissed or something. So, thank you, sir. Whoa. All right, cool. Let's put that there. What time is it? Okay, cool. All right, this is a free event. This one right here that you're in, okay? And we want it to always be a free event. And we're not going to get up here and ask you for money every time. But we are in a position where we're trying to hire a full-time person, and we do need to go out to the larger Birmingham community and corporate sponsors and other people and start raising some money, and we're doing that, okay? We would like to be able to show that group of people that we have a lot of support from our community, and it's already happening with the attendance. If you just want to attend, that's fine. Come in here. We want you to be here. We are interested in bringing in some donations from this group. Not just this group. It's going to go out to our wider email list. There are like 2,000 people, okay? But we want this to be happening in schools, in civic groups, in governments. We want this conversation to be happening a lot. There should be a version of this group for finance people. There should be a version of this group for people that do marketing, okay? There's so much that we can do. And Will and I feel as a city that we need to. Like, we're not ready for this, and we have a lot of work to do to be prepared. Okay. We are going to hold an event during the week of SLOSTech. You see, I changed the image to be much more of a party. I can't promise this level of party, okay? It is going to be a public event, but for people that donate, and there's a Venmo link up here right now, for people that donate any amount, okay, we're going to give you first cut at the tickets. All right? So while y'all are thinking about that, Jared, why don't you come up here real quick? I didn't get a slide, but why don't you just say a little bit about Sloss Tech too, since that's coming up, and then the event next week.
Before Jared goes, I just want to say my phone is buzzing in my pocket from donations right now. So thank you all for the people who've already done it. That's amazing. I was not expecting that. So thank you all.
Hey everybody, Jared Sisher with Tech Birmingham. Raise your hand if you've been to Sloss Tech before. Okay, that's a lot of people. So this year we're doing it for 3 days. It's going to be at the Lyric Theater. We're going to have breakout sessions at Sidewalk Film Festival. There will be a pitch competition, Sloss Tech on tap here at the Innovation Depot. It's going to be great. So if you go to sloss.tech, that's literally the website, you can get your tickets. For my Tech Birmingham members, there is a discount code. We're excited to have you. And there's no slide on here, but in partnership with Central Alabama ISSA, sponsored by Darktrace and with Birmingham AI, we're having a lunch and learn here in this room from 11:30 to 1. We're going to have a panel discussion on cybersecurity with AI. It's completely free. There's going to be free food. I just want to say the very first couple of Birmingham AI meetups I came to, the main reason I came was because there was free pizza. I would say that really changed the game for me, and now I've been every month. So we're gonna have free food. It's a free event. If you go to Tech Birmingham on our LinkedIn page, you can find the login or the where you can RSVP. So I hope to see all of you guys there. And at Sloss Tech, if you have any questions, I'll be around here getting some more pizza. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sloss Tech actually is more a party like this. There's more, but it's a great event. So, a couple of other housekeeping things. We have a meeting that is specifically for people that do software engineering. It's tomorrow night. It's at Hardware Park. There's pizza and beer. Okay, so if you are more on the engineering bent and you want to be sitting in a room, people have their laptops open, you're actually building things together, that is that event. All right? And Tarun, you want to just stand up really quick and wave? Tarun runs the events, and so if you want to talk to him about that, please do after the meeting. All right? These are all of the various QR codes and things I already showed you. 101. Okay, great. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing you next month.